What if I told you that motivation is useless, willpower fails, and yet some people accomplish everything they set out to do? The difference isn't talent, luck, or inspiration. It's unshakable discipline. Today, you'll learn how to train your mind to follow through on what matters, even when you don't feel like it, and turn every choice into unstoppable progress. This isn't theory. This is a step-by-step blueprint to become the person who finishes what they start. Chapter 1. Discipline over desire. You've been lied to. You've been told that motivation is the spark. That motivation is the engine. That motivation is the reason people change their lives. But here's the truth you came here to learn. Motivation is unreliable fuel. You cannot build a disciplined life on something that disappears the moment you feel tired, stressed, bored, or overwhelmed. You cannot rely on how you feel. Say it again. You cannot rely on how you feel. Because if you rely on how you feel, you will quit every time life gets uncomfortable. And you know this. You've lived this. You've watched your intentions collapse because you waited for a feeling that never arrived. So listen closely. This is where your transformation begins. This is where you stop treating motivation as a requirement and start treating discipline as a decision. Motivation makes you excited. Discipline makes you consistent. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Motivation fades. Discipline endures. You have a choice. You can keep waiting for a feeling, or you can build a mindset that moves without permission from your emotions. Because you don't need their permission. You don't need your feelings to approve your goals. You don't need comfort to validate your effort. That's the key. That's the shift. The moment you stop waiting for motivation is the moment you become unstoppable. Think about athletes. The world-class ones. The ones you admire. Do you think they wake up motivated every day? Do you think they jump out of bed with excitement every morning? Of course not. They wake up sore. They wake up tired. They wake up questioning everything just like you. But here's the difference. They don't negotiate. They don't wait. They act. That's discipline. Execution without emotional permission. Soldiers do it. Entrepreneurs do it. Anyone who builds a life worth respecting does it. Not because they feel like it, but because their decisions matter more than their emotions. Your feelings are temporary. Your decisions shape your future. And that's the key you've been missing. You've been treating motivation like a requirement when it should be treated like a luxury. Something nice to have. Something that amplifies your effort, but never initiates it. Motivation is a bonus, not the foundation. Motivation is the spark, not the engine. Motivation is encouragement, not structure. You have a choice. Keep building your life on unstable ground, or build it on the one thing that doesn't break when life hits you. Discipline. Because discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline doesn't care about the weather. Discipline doesn't care about how tired you are, how stressed you are, or whether or not you feel ready. Discipline is action. Action creates results. And here's the part they never teach you. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you move, motivation increases. When you start, momentum builds. When you take the first step, the second step becomes easier. But when you wait for motivation, nothing happens. Nothing changes. Nothing grows. Waiting is the enemy. Waiting is the trap. Waiting is the silent killer of potential. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start. And here's something you already know deep down. Your best days didn't come from motivation. Your best days came from choice, from decisiveness, from the moment you said, I'm doing this no matter what. Think back. The workouts you didn't want to do, the studying you forced yourself through, the difficult conversations you avoided until you finally had them. Those moments shaped you more than any burst of inspiration ever could, because they were powered by discipline, not emotion. You have a choice, and your choices matter more than your feelings. So here is the pattern you must break today. Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting to be motivated. Stop waiting for the magical spark that suddenly makes everything easy. It's not coming, and you don't need it. You need clarity. You need structure. You need action. Discipline is a decision. You decide that your goals matter more than your comfort. You decide that your future matters more than your mood. You decide that your standards matter more than your feelings. You decide, and then you execute. That's the formula. That's the transformation. Because once you understand that you don't need motivation, everything changes. Your excuses fall apart. Your resistance becomes weaker. Your identity grows stronger. You become the kind of person who acts. The kind of person who follows through. The kind of person whose behavior does not collapse under emotional pressure. That's discipline. That's power. That's how you build an unshakable life. But let's be practical for a moment. Let's talk behavior. Let's talk real-world implementation. Here's what you need to do starting today. 1. Create one action you will follow through on daily, no matter how you feel. Small enough that you can't fail. Strong enough to build momentum. This is your I do this even on my worst day action. 2. Remove your morning negotiation loop. No debating. No bargaining. No excuses. Get up. Start the task. Move. Even 1 minute is enough to trigger momentum. 3. Treat motivation as a bonus, nothing more. If it shows up, good. If it doesn't, better. Because now you get to train real discipline, real strength, real follow-through. You have a choice that will define the rest of this audiobook, a choice that will define your identity. You can keep living as someone who acts only when the feeling arrives, or you can become someone who acts because the mission requires it. You choose. This chapter is your foundation. This is where you sever the old contract you had with comfort and emotional dependence. This is where you learn that motivation is not the engine. You are. Your decisions are. Your discipline is. And now that you understand this, it's time to build the identity that supports it. You stopped waiting for motivation. Now it's time to become someone who doesn't need it. Chapter 2. Make your identity stronger than your excuses. Your actions follow your identity. Not your goals. Not your wishes. Not your motivation. Your identity. Who you believe you are. Who you say you are. Who you repeatedly act like. This is the truth most people never learn. You don't try to be disciplined. You become the person who is. Identity comes first. Behavior follows. If your identity is weak, your excuses will always win. If your identity is vague, your habits will always collapse. If your identity is built on temporary motivation, your progress will disappear the moment resistance shows up. But when your identity is strong, when your identity is intentional, when your identity is aligned with who you want to become, your excuses lose their power. You have a choice. You can keep saying, I want to be disciplined, or you can start saying, I am someone who follows through. That shift is everything. That shift changes your life. Think about the difference between these two statements. I want to wake up early versus I am someone who wakes up early. One is a desire. One is an identity. One requires constant motivation. One requires alignment. One collapses the moment you feel tired. One holds firm because it's who you are. This is how real transformation happens. You upgrade your identity first, then your actions follow. Not the other way around. You don't force discipline. You embody discipline. You don't wait for consistency. You become someone who is consistent. That's the key. That's the shift. That's the reason some people succeed and others don't. Identity creates behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. This is the loop that shapes your life. Let's talk about real people, the ones who made this shift. The person who went from I want to get in shape to I am someone who trains daily. Before the shift, they skipped workouts. After the shift, workouts became automatic. Why? Identity. The entrepreneur who went from I want to build a business to I am someone who builds every single day. Before the shift, they procrastinated. After the shift, they executed. Why? Identity. The student who went from I want to be disciplined with my studying to I am someone who studies like it's my standard. Before the shift, they crammed. After the shift, they learned consistently. Why? Identity. Identity is the quiet force that determines whether you rise or fall. Identity is the root of every pattern, every habit, every decision you make. You have a choice. Keep letting your old identity decide your future, or build the identity that creates the life you want. Now, let's break this down into something you can apply today. Identity upgrade number 1. Choose one identity statement that aligns with the person you want to become. Simple, clear, declarative. Not I hope, not I try, not I want. You say, I am disciplined. I am consistent. I'm someone who follows through. Choose one and repeat it daily. Repeat it until it feels natural. Repeat it until your behavior bends around it. You train identity the same way you train a muscle, through repetition. Identity upgrade number 2. Act in alignment with your identity immediately. Not next week. Not when you feel ready. Not when your schedule is perfect. Now, today, in the smallest way possible. Identity is strengthened by action. Even tiny action, especially tiny action. If your identity is, I am someone who wakes up early, wake up 5 minutes earlier tomorrow. If your identity is, I am someone who keeps promises to myself, keep one small promise today. If your identity is, I am someone who does the hard things, do one uncomfortable task right now. The action doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be aligned. Aligned actions build powerful identity. Misaligned actions destroy it. Identity upgrade number 3. Eliminate identity contradictions. This part is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You can't say I am disciplined and break your commitments. You can't say I am focused and scroll for hours. You can't say I am consistent and quit every time it gets difficult. Because every time you contradict your identity, you weaken it. You train your mind to believe your excuses. You teach yourself that your words don't matter. And that is dangerous. Because nothing erodes self-respect faster than breaking promises you made to yourself. You have a choice. Align your actions with the identity you want, or keep reinforcing the identity that's holding you back. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. Consistent alignment. Relentless alignment. That's how new identities are built. That's how old patterns die. Let's zoom out for a moment. Think about how powerful identity really is. If someone says, I'm a runner, they run. If someone says, I'm an artist, they create. If someone says, I'm disciplined, they follow through. Identity creates gravity. Identity pulls your behavior forward. Identity removes resistance. When you identify as the person who does the work, you stop debating. You stop negotiating. You stop explaining. You simply act. Because that's who you are. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You don't need someone cheering you on. Identity is the internal engine. Identity is the internal contract. Identity is the internal command. So here's what you must remember. Your excuses don't come from weakness. They come from identity misalignment. If you still identify as someone who struggles, you will continue to struggle. But if you identify as someone who executes, you will execute. You have a choice, a real one, a powerful one. Stop building your life on old patterns. Start building your life on intentional identity. Repeat your identity statement every day. Take small aligned actions every day. Refuse to contradict the identity you're building. Do this for 30 days and your mind will shift. Do this for 60 days and your habits will shift. Do this for 90 days and your entire life will shift. Identity over excuses. Identity over feelings. Identity over old patterns. That's the path. That's the transformation. That's how you become disciplined for life. You've strengthened your identity. You've taken control of who you are becoming. Now it's time to build the systems that make discipline automatic. Chapter 3. Build systems that do the work for you. Stop relying on willpower. Stop thinking that self-control alone will carry you through the day. Stop pretending that motivation and grit are enough. Because they're not. You cannot execute at a high level every single day relying on willpower. It fails. It always fails. It cracks under stress, distraction, and fatigue. Here's the truth. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Repeat it. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Say it again. Systems succeed where willpower fails. That is the key to building unshakable discipline. Not bigger willpower. Not more inspiration. Not waiting for motivation to show up. Systems. Let's define what a system is. A system is a repeatable process designed to produce results automatically. A system removes guesswork. A system removes optionality. A system ensures that no matter how you feel, the work gets done. Without a system, life is a battlefield of decisions. You wake up. You wonder what to do. You debate. You procrastinate. You fail. With a system, life becomes automatic. You wake up. You execute. No debate. No negotiation. No excuses. That's the power of systems. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Let's break it down with a practical example. Imagine your morning. Without a system, your morning looks like this. Alarm goes off. You debate getting out of bed. You check your phone. You wonder if you should work out or skip. You brush your teeth, eat, maybe work, maybe scroll. Chaos. Optionality everywhere. You need willpower to survive. Now with a system, alarm goes off. You get out of bed. Period. No debate. Drink water. 5 push-ups. Stretch. Done. 30 minutes of focused work on your highest priority task. Breakfast. Shower. Ready to tackle the day. Everything is predetermined. Everything is automatic. Everything reduces mental friction. No willpower required. No excuses allowed. No waiting for motivation. This is why the most successful people operate on systems. Because systems protect them from themselves. Think about it. Athletes don't rely on willpower to train. They have routines, drills, and schedules. Soldiers don't rely on motivation to execute missions. They have standard operating procedures. Top entrepreneurs don't rely on feeling inspired to work. They have calendars, checklists, and automation. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Repeat it again. Systems succeed where willpower fails. This is not a suggestion. This is fact. Here's how to start building your systems today. Step 1. Identify the repetitive decisions in your life. Every time you ask yourself, what should I do? You're wasting mental energy. List the decisions you make every day. Meals, workouts, work tasks, reading, sleep, focus blocks. These are your system opportunities. Step 2. Design rules that remove optionality. Decide once for all what you will do. You don't debate. You don't negotiate. You execute. Example. I wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Done. No negotiation. I will write for 60 minutes after breakfast. Done. No negotiation. Your system is rigid. It doesn't care about mood. Step 3. Repeat until automatic. Systems become powerful because of repetition. The more you follow the process, the less willpower you need. Eventually, your system runs on autopilot. You don't think. You don't debate. You execute. Let's talk about another example, your workday. Without a system, you check emails first. You react to notifications. You work on what feels urgent. Your priorities get lost. With a system, first 2 hours, focused, uninterrupted work on your most important task. Next hour, emails and messages. Next 1 to 2 hours, meetings or secondary tasks. Every day ends with review and planning for tomorrow. See the difference? One is chaotic. One is unstoppable. One depends on willpower. One runs on systems. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Here's the critical mindset shift. You are not building discipline in every moment. You are building it once, through systems. Once your system is in place, discipline executes automatically. Think of it like autopilot for your life. You set the coordinates. You launch. The system keeps you on course. Willpower is unreliable. Motivation is a bonus. Systems are consistent. This is the core principle most people ignore. And this is why they fail. You have a choice. You can continue relying on your weak, unpredictable willpower, or you can build systems that execute automatically. Now let's tackle the elephant in the room, resistance. Some people say, but systems are rigid. I don't want to be robotic. Good. Listen carefully. Discipline is not about comfort. Discipline is not about flexibility. Discipline is about execution. You are not building a system for fun. You are building a system to win, to achieve, to transform. Comfort is the enemy. Optionality is the enemy. Systems are your weapon. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Say it one more time. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Let's make it actionable. Here's your simple roadmap. Pick one area of your life to systemize. Fitness, work, learning, morning routine, evening routine. Write down every step in advance. The more detail, the less decision fatigue. Remove choice. Decide what you will do, when you will do it, and how you will do it. Follow the system for 30 days. No excuses, no debate, no exceptions. Refine and scale. Once the system runs smoothly, add the next area of your life. Your future self will thank you. Your willpower will thank you. Your life will thank you. Here's the takeaway. Stop relying on willpower. Stop hoping for motivation. Stop negotiating with yourself every single day. Build systems. Predetermine your actions. Remove optionality. Follow through. Systems succeed where willpower fails. Repeat it. Internalize it. Live it. When your systems are strong, discipline becomes effortless. When your systems are strong, excuses vanish. When your systems are strong, you stop struggling and start executing. You have built the foundation. You have created the structure. Now it's time to take your next step. Remove negotiation from your life entirely. Chapter 4. Remove the negotiation loop. Discipline dies in the negotiation. Every time you hesitate, every time you argue with yourself, every time you bargain with comfort or delay. This is the truth most people ignore. Your biggest enemy is yourself. The moment you pause, even for 5 seconds, doubt creeps in. The moment you negotiate, excuses creep in. The moment you bargain, your goals slip further away. Elite performers know this. Successful people know this. The ones you admire, the ones you want to be, they execute instantly. Because here's the rule. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. Repeat it. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. Say it again. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. This is your new law. This is your new code. Let's define the negotiation loop. It's the tiny gap between knowing what to do and doing it. It's that split second when your brain says, maybe later, just 5 more minutes. I deserve a break. I'll start tomorrow. That gap is the battlefield. That gap is where discipline dies. That gap is where your dreams are stolen. You have a choice, negotiate or execute. Negotiate and you waste energy. Negotiate and you delay progress. Negotiate and you reinforce weakness. Execute and you win. Execute and you build momentum. Execute and you reinforce strength. That's the difference between failure and excellence. That's the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves. Let's make it concrete. Elite athletes don't think about whether to train. They don't weigh the pros and cons. The moment the alarm sounds, they move. They execute. No debate. Entrepreneurs don't consider whether to answer emails or focus on the high-priority task. They have a process. They act. No negotiation. No hesitation. Even the most successful students don't debate whether to start studying. They open the book. They begin. They execute. And here's the pattern. Action eliminates negotiation. Once you move, momentum builds. Once you move, clarity appears. Once you move, the mind stops bargaining. This is why the 5-second window is deadly. From a moment you know what you need to do, you have exactly 5 seconds to act. If you hesitate, negotiation begins. Excuses creep in. Procrastination wins. If you act, momentum begins. Momentum crushes doubt. Progress becomes inevitable. 5 seconds. That's all it takes. Don't negotiate. Execute. Here's the formula you must internalize. Recognize the moment of hesitation. It's that microsecond when your brain whispers, "Do I really want to do this?" Move immediately. No thought, no bargaining, no reasoning, just action. Reinforce the habit. Every time you act without negotiation, you build confidence. Every time you negotiate, you build weakness. Simple, brutal, effective. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. Let's get practical. The alarm rings in the morning. Your brain says, 5 more minutes. Negotiation begins. Stop. Act. Get out of bed immediately. 5 seconds. No debate. You win. You open your laptop to work. Your mind says, check social media first. Stop negotiating. Start executing on your task. 5 seconds. No debate. You win. The workout is scheduled. Your brain says, it's too early, too hard, too uncomfortable. Stop negotiating. Do the first push-up. The first rep is all it takes. 5 seconds. You win. Here's the mindset shift. Negotiation is weakness disguised as choice. It's an illusion. It's a trap. It's the voice that keeps you small. You have a choice. Every moment, every day, negotiate or execute. Execute consistently, and you become unstoppable. Negotiate consistently, and you remain average. It's not complicated. It's not subtle. It's black and white. Another way to strengthen this: pre-decide your actions. Decide in advance what you will do. Decide in advance when you will do it. Decide in advance how you will do it. Then remove negotiation entirely. You don't decide in the moment. You follow the plan. Your mind has no opportunity to bargain. This is how elite performers operate. No negotiation, only execution. Let's address the resistance. Some people say, but sometimes I need flexibility. Life isn't rigid. Flexibility is fine, but negotiation is not. Execution trumps debate. Consistency beats hesitation. Results favor action over deliberation. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. There is no middle ground. Here's how to practice immediately. Identify one daily habit you struggle to start. Set the intention. The moment the cue appears, you execute within 5 seconds. Repeat every day. Celebrate the act of execution, not the result. This trains your brain to act first, think later. Momentum becomes a habit. Discipline becomes a habit. Excuses disappear. Think about this. Every moment of hesitation you have ever experienced, every time you said, "I'll do it later," every time you bargain with yourself, That's lost time. That's lost progress. That's lost potential. Now imagine a life where you act instantly, where hesitation is eliminated, where your 5-second window becomes your 5-second advantage. That's the life of unshakable discipline. That's the life you are building. You have a choice. Execute. Don't negotiate. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. Say it again. If you negotiate, you lose. If you execute, you win. Live it. Repeat it. Internalize it. Concluding thought. You now understand the danger of internal bargaining. You now understand the power of instant action. You now have the tool to stop hesitation from controlling your life. You removed the negotiation loop. You shortened the gap between knowing and doing. You strengthened your discipline. Next, we take this even further. Discipline isn't just about acting quickly. It's about choosing long-term strength over short-term comfort. Chapter 5. Choose long-term strength over short-term comfort. Comfort is a trap. Comfort feels good. Comfort is easy. Comfort is seductive. But comfort is weakness disguised as safety. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you weaken yourself. Every time you chase short-term pleasure, you sacrifice long-term power. Listen carefully. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Repeat it. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Say it again. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. This is the principle that separates the average from the exceptional. Delayed gratification is not a vague concept. It's not a motivational buzzword. It's a skill, a muscle, a practice. Research proves this. Longitudinal studies show that children who learn to delay gratification grow into adults who are more successful, more disciplined, and more resilient. They understand that resisting temporary pleasure builds permanent strength. Every choice is a test. Every moment is a fork in the road. Comfort or growth, impulse or meaning, short-term pleasure or long-term power. You have a choice. Choose wisely. Think about the athlete who skips the couch and goes for an early morning run. Every step is uncomfortable. Every rep challenges their body. Every drop of sweat feels hard in the moment. Yet years later, they are faster, stronger, fitter. Delayed reward builds power. Compare that to the person who chooses comfort, who hits snooze, who skips training, who watches another hour of mindless scrolling. Comfort creates weakness. They feel fine in the moment, but years later, their potential is stolen. This is true in business, too. The entrepreneur who spends nights building skills, studying markets, and creating value sacrifices immediate leisure, is uncomfortable, is stressful, but months and years later, they reap compounding rewards. The one who chooses comfort, the one who procrastinates, the one who chases easy satisfaction, they fall behind. They remain stagnant. They never reach their full potential. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Say it again. Say it often. Internalize it. Here's the key to mastering this skill. Step 1. Recognize your impulses. Every craving, every urge, every desire is an opportunity to choose strength. Step 2. Reframe the choice. Instead of asking, "Do I want this?" ask, "Will this move me toward long-term strength or short-term comfort?" Step 3. Take action. Always choose the path that builds power. Always choose the path that challenges you. Always choose meaning over impulse. This is not theory. This is applied discipline. Let's make it practical. You're tempted to scroll social media for an hour. Ask yourself, does this build my skills, my body, my mind, my future? If yes, act. If no, delay gratification. Close the app. Read a book. Write. Train. Create. You have a choice. Choose long-term strength. Choose power. Choose excellence. Another example, diet and health. It's easy to reach for the candy, the chips, the quick pleasure. It feels good now. It satisfies immediately. But every time you choose comfort over discipline, you weaken your body, your energy, and your confidence. The person who chooses delayed reward eats intentionally, trains consistently, and invests in their health. Every decision is uncomfortable in the moment. Every choice strengthens them for the future. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Now let's talk about mindset. Choosing delayed gratification is not a punishment. It's an investment. It's proof that you value your future more than fleeting pleasure. It's proof that you are in control. And here's the secret elite performers understand. Your mind will fight against discomfort. Your brain will scream for easy pleasure. That's normal. That's biology. That's the test. Discipline is choosing action over feeling. Discipline is choosing growth over comfort. Discipline is doing what matters even when it hurts. Here's a simple mental reframe. When faced with temptation, repeat to yourself, comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Say it every time. Say it loudly in your mind. Say it until it becomes instinctive. Because every time you reinforce this truth, you strengthen your self-control muscle. Every time you choose delayed reward, you win. Every time you resist comfort, you grow stronger. Let's bring this into your daily life with 3 actionable steps. Step 1. Identify one area where you regularly choose comfort. Maybe it's hitting snooze. Maybe it's scrolling social media. Maybe it's avoiding a workout or an important task. Step 2. Replace the immediate comfort with a small action that builds power. Even one push-up, even 5 minutes of focused work, even a small decision that aligns with your long-term goals. Step 3. Repeat consistently. Every day, every moment, every choice. Turn delayed gratification into a habit. Turn discipline into an identity. This is how you shift your life. Not with luck, not with willpower alone, but by consistently choosing what builds power over what feels easy. Remember, comfort feels safe, but it is a lie. It is temporary. It leaves you weak. Delayed reward is hard. It is uncomfortable. It is resisted, but it builds strength. It builds resilience. It builds character. It builds the life you want. You have a choice. Choose comfort and you stagnate. Choose delayed reward and you grow unstoppable. Comfort creates weakness. Delayed reward builds power. Repeat it, live it, internalize it. Concluding thought. You now understand that short-term pleasure is a trap. You now understand that discomfort is the currency of growth. You now understand that every choice matters. You have strengthened your ability to resist impulses. You have trained your mind to value the long-term over the immediate. Next, we take this even further. Discipline isn't just about delaying gratification. It's about protecting your focus, your attention, and your energy every single day. Chapter 6. Become immune to distraction. Distraction is the silent killer of discipline. It's everywhere. Every notification, every ping, every thought that pulls you away from what matters. Distraction doesn't feel dangerous, but it is. Here's the hard truth. If you cannot focus, nothing else matters. Talent, motivation, willpower, all irrelevant without attention. Your results, your success, your life, they depend on your focus. So listen carefully. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Repeat it. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Say it again. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. This is non-negotiable. Let's start with environmental design. Your environment shapes your behavior. It either sets you up to win or sets you up to fail. A messy desk, an endless phone, an open browser. They are traps. Creators eliminate the clutter. Monks simplify their surroundings. CEOs structure offices to minimize distraction. Why? Because every visual cue triggers action. Every ping triggers reaction. Every open tab triggers temptation. Distraction is habit layered on opportunity. Remove the opportunity and you remove the distraction. Digital discipline is the next battlefield. Phones, apps, notifications. These are designed to hijack your attention. Your mind is not weaker than these systems. It's being used against you. Elite performers fight back. They schedule time to check email. They disable non-essential notifications. They batch communication into focused blocks. You don't need permission. You don't need to reply immediately. You need focus. Protect it. Guard it. Enforce it. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Let's examine real-world examples. Writers like Cal Newport eliminate digital noise. He blocks social media. He isolates work periods. He writes deeply without distraction. Monks meditate in silence for hours. They train their attention to remain unmoved by external stimuli. CEOs structure their day to maximize focus. Meeting times are limited. Communication is scheduled. Tasks are prioritized. All of them share one habit. Distraction is non-negotiable. You have a choice. You can scroll endlessly, react to every ping, and scatter your attention. Or you can control your environment, control your digital inputs, and guard your focus like a fortress. Here's how to apply it immediately. Step 1. Audit your environment. Look around. What pulls your attention away? Remove it. Out of sight, out of mind. Step 2. Limit digital interruptions. Turn off notifications. Close tabs you don't need. Schedule blocks for email and social media. Step 3. Create distraction-free zones. Your desk, your office, your room. Make them sacred. No phone, no noise, no unnecessary clutter. Every adjustment is small. Every adjustment is repeated. Every adjustment compounds into massive control over your attention. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Now, let's talk about attention habits. Your mind is like a muscle. Every time you let it wander, it weakens. Every time you react to distraction, you reinforce the habit. But every time you enforce focus, you strengthen the mental muscle. Every time you resist temptation, you train attention. Every time you structure your day for deep work, you build unshakable discipline. Here's a simple practice. Set a timer for a single task. Work without phone, without notifications, without interruption. Even 25 minutes of deep focus rewires your brain. Do it daily. Increase the time gradually. Momentum builds. Focus becomes your default. Distraction becomes irrelevant. Noise becomes background. Attention becomes armor. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. The key is consistency. One deep work session is good. 5 consecutive weeks of distraction-free work is unstoppable. You don't need perfect circumstances. You need repeatable habits that enforce focus. Your environment, your digital inputs, and your daily routines all must serve focus. Anything else is a thief. Anything else is a trap. Anything else steals your future. Another strategy: prioritize ruthlessly. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every email. Not every notification. Not every request. Ask, does this move me toward my goals or distract me from them? If it distracts, cut it. If it doesn't serve your mission, remove it. Discipline is selective. Attention is selective. This is how creators, monks, and CEOs operate. They eliminate the unnecessary. They amplify the important. They protect what matters. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Let's connect this to the bigger picture. You've already learned. Stop waiting for motivation. You've already learned build identity. You've already learned create systems. You've already learned remove negotiation. You've already learned choose long-term strength. Now focus. Discipline is fragile without attention. A weak mind is sabotaged by distractions. A scattered mind never achieves unshakable results. You have a choice. Fight for focus or surrender to noise. Actionable steps to implement today. Identify one major source of distraction and eliminate it completely. Schedule 2 deep focus blocks during your day with 0 interruptions. Set physical and digital boundaries that protect your attention automatically. Small steps, massive results. Protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. You have now learned to guard your most powerful resource, attention. You have learned that environment, digital discipline, and structured routines amplify your discipline. You have learned that distraction is optional, focus is not. The next stage of unshakable discipline is not just resisting impulses or structuring your life. It's mastering your emotions, your comfort, and your desire to feel good when the work is hard. Chapter 7. Break the addiction to feeling good. You are addicted, not to a substance, not to a person. You are addicted to feeling good. It's subtle. It's invisible. It's reinforced every day by dopamine, convenience, and comfort. You scroll. You binge. You snack. You avoid. Every time you chase a quick hit of pleasure, your brain strengthens the path of least resistance. Your mind learns to avoid discomfort. Your body learns to seek easy pleasure. Your potential learns to hide. Discipline dies here. Weakness thrives here. Mediocrity breeds here. Listen closely. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Repeat it. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Say it again. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. This is non-negotiable. Let's examine the problem. Dopamine is a reward chemical. It reinforces habits. It tells your brain, do that again, it feels good. And your brain listens. Every notification ping, every snack, every entertainment hit releases dopamine. Every time you procrastinate, you feel temporary relief. Every time you avoid discomfort, you feel a momentary high. And your brain thinks, this is better than hard work. This is safer. This is smarter. But it isn't. It's training you to run from growth. It's training you to crave comfort over progress. You have a choice. Follow the dopamine or follow discipline. Think about your day. You sit down to work. The first email comes in. You check it. Then a notification pops up. You scroll. You binge. You snack. All small, seemingly harmless behaviors. All short-term feels-good fixes. All teaching your brain that avoidance is more rewarding than action. Do this consistently, and you'll never achieve unshakable discipline. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Let's be honest. Life is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Learning is uncomfortable. Work that matters is uncomfortable. Your brain fights against it. Your body fights against it. Your environment fights against it. And if you give in to comfort, you reinforce the very weakness you're trying to escape. You have a choice. You can chase temporary pleasure, or you can build permanent power. Here's how elite performers manage this. Writers block social media. Athletes train through fatigue. Entrepreneurs work through uncertainty. Creators produce content before inspiration arrives. They don't seek to feel good. They seek results. They seek growth. They seek excellence. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Now, let's make this actionable. Step 1. Identify your comfort triggers. When you give in to pleasure over progress. Scrolling, binge watching, comfort food, mindless chatting. Write them down. See the patterns. Awareness is the first step to change. Step 2. Replace the feel-good habit with action. When the urge hits, act immediately. Do a task that moves you forward. Even one small step builds resistance. Step 3. Increase discomfort gradually. Train yourself to tolerate hard things. Cold showers, early mornings, difficult conversations, physical or mental challenge. The more discomfort you endure, the less control pleasure has over you. This is how your brain rewires. This is how you break the addiction. Let's look at examples. Binge watching Netflix for 3 hours feels good. Scrolling endlessly on your phone feels good. Eating sugar instead of working feels good. But the payoff is temporary. The regret is long-lasting. The loss of potential is permanent. Compare that to the person who works through resistance, completes the report, finishes the workout, resists the urge to avoid the hard task. They may not feel pleasure in the moment. They may feel discomfort, but they gain momentum. They gain confidence. They gain unshakable discipline. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Here's the mindset shift. Pleasure is a tool, not a lifestyle, not a guide. Comfort is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Every time you choose what feels good over what is necessary, you're training yourself to fail. Every time you choose discomfort in service of progress, you are training yourself to win. This is the secret most people never understand. Pleasure is cheap. Growth is expensive. You cannot have both. Here's a simple framework to practice immediately. Notice the urge. Pause. Count 5 seconds. Ask, does this move me toward my goals? Or is it temporary pleasure? Act on the answer. It's simple. It's repeatable. It's transformative. Every time you resist the urge, your brain rewires. Every time you act in spite of discomfort, your self-control strengthens. Every time you prioritize progress over pleasure, your discipline compounds. Discipline is not convenient. Discipline is not comfortable. Discipline is not fun. Discipline is action. Discipline is consistency. Discipline is following through when the mind screams for comfort. Discipline is doing what must be done, especially when it doesn't feel good. Repeat it, live it, internalize it. You have now recognized the dopamine traps. You have understood that comfort is a lie. You have learned to resist the urge to chase pleasure over progress. You are stronger. You're more aware. You are ready to handle the next challenge, working quietly and persistently without external validation. The next stage of unshakable discipline is not just resisting pleasure. It is embracing silent progress, building power without applause. Chapter 8. Master the art of silent progress. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for validation. Stop waiting for everyone to notice your effort. Discipline isn't about recognition. It isn't about likes, praise, or approval. It's about showing up every day, even when no one sees. Here's the hard truth. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. Repeat it. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. Say it again. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. If you only act when people are watching, your discipline is fragile. If you only perform for attention, your growth is shallow. If you rely on external validation, your results will never be unstoppable. Consider the legends. Thomas Edison worked for years in solitude, experimenting tirelessly. No one noticed. No one cheered. No immediate validation. Yet his silent progress changed the world. J.K. Rowling wrote in cafes, struggling alone, rejected repeatedly by publishers. Invisible work, quiet perseverance. Her growth was proof, not applause. Michael Jordan practiced relentlessly in empty gyms, alone. Grinding, failing, repeating. The crowd didn't see it. The world only noticed later. Silence is the laboratory of mastery. Growth is the evidence. Let's break this down. External validation is addictive. You get a compliment, a recognition hit, and it feels good. Your brain learns to seek it. Your effort becomes conditional on approval. And here's the danger. Approval is inconsistent. Praise fades. People stop noticing. Recognition isn't guaranteed. But discipline is consistent. Discipline does not require spectators. Discipline thrives in silence. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. Here's what silent progress looks like in practice. You wake up before anyone else. You train, you study, you work, unseen, unheard. No one praises you. No one notices. You keep going anyway. You focus on improvement, not approval. You measure success internally. You judge by results, not applause. This is how excellence is built. Invisible effort compounds into unstoppable mastery. Here's another example. The writer who writes daily before work, before life demands attention, before anyone notices. The programmer who learns a new skill at night, silently refining code, building expertise. The entrepreneur who invests in knowledge, networking, and practice, unseen for years. All of them share one trait. They work quietly. All of them share one result. Growth speaks louder than applause. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. Why does this matter for discipline? Because the world will never hand you recognition for effort. Because life doesn't reward intention. Because people only see results, not the hard, invisible work behind them. If you rely on external validation, you will quit. If you rely on applause, you will stop when no one notices. If you rely on recognition, your growth will be fragile. But if you work silently, for yourself, your discipline becomes unstoppable. Your momentum becomes immune to opinion. Your results become inevitable. Let's get practical. Step 1. Measure internally. Track your habits, your skills, your milestones privately. Forget likes. Forget praise. Forget approval. Step 2. Focus on process, not outcome. Mastery is invisible. Effort is unseen. The payoff is delayed, but the results are undeniable. Step 3. Embrace solitude. Work without a crowd. Learn without commentary. Allow silence to sharpen your skills. Allow privacy to deepen your discipline. This is how you outpace everyone who chases attention. Remember, the world is noisy. It constantly distracts, praises, criticizes, and demands recognition. Most people give in. Most people measure success by external validation. You don't. You measure by effort. You measure by improvement. You measure by results. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. Here's a mental shift. Whenever you feel the urge to seek recognition, remind yourself, the work I do quietly is stronger than applause. The progress I make unseen is unstoppable. The results will speak for themselves. Repeat it. Internalize it. Act on it. Because every time you resist the need for validation, your discipline grows. Every time you focus on results over recognition, your skill compounds. Every time you embrace silent progress, your identity strengthens. Silent progress isn't glamorous. It isn't exciting. It isn't immediately rewarding. But it is unstoppable. It is unshakable. It is inevitable. Discipline is forged in the unseen hours. Mastery is built in the quiet. Success is earned long before anyone notices. Silence is your advantage. Growth is your proof. You have learned to work without approval. You have learned to let results speak louder than words. You have learned that discipline does not need an audience. It needs persistence. Next, we combine everything you've learned so far with the ultimate principle, aligning every action with purpose. Chapter 9. Make discipline non-negotiable. Discipline is fragile when it's optional. It wavers with moods. It bends under excuses. It disappears when temptation appears. This is why most people fail. They treat discipline like a suggestion, like a guideline, like something flexible. Here's the truth. Discipline must be non-negotiable. Repeat it. Discipline must be non-negotiable. Say it again. Discipline must be non-negotiable. No exceptions. No loopholes. No emotional openings. Let's break this down. Non-negotiable discipline is like a mental contract with yourself. A contract you never break. A promise you honor no matter what. The rules are simple. If you said you would do it, you do it. If you said you would start, you start. If you said you would finish, you finish. No debate. No negotiation. No excuses. Standards over moods. Repeat it. Standards over moods. Think about what happens when discipline is negotiable. The alarm rings. You hit snooze. You skip a workout. You delay a task. You choose comfort. You give your brain permission to bargain. This is how weakness becomes habit. This is how procrastination takes root. This is how self-trust erodes. But when you make discipline non-negotiable, the alarm rings. You get up. You feel tired. You still move. You feel resistance. You still act. You build self-trust. You build momentum. You build confidence. Standards over moods. Let's use examples. Elite athletes follow non-negotiable routines. They train regardless of fatigue. They follow strict diets. They show up in every condition. CEOs enforce non-negotiable schedules. They start work at the same time. They finish work at the same time. They execute priorities no matter what distractions arise. Creators commit to writing, recording, or producing content without exception, even when inspiration is gone, even when they feel unmotivated. The secret: non-negotiable standards remove debate, increase confidence, and build unshakable self-trust. Here's the mental shift you must make. Your mood does not determine your action. Your feelings do not dictate your decisions. Your discipline is stronger than your comfort. Every time you let mood dictate action, you weaken yourself. Every time you enforce your standards, you strengthen yourself. Standards over moods. Standards over moods. Standards over moods. Here's how to make discipline non-negotiable. Step 1. Identify your core actions. The small, repeatable behaviors that build results. Examples: waking early, working out, journaling, deep work, skill practice. Step 2. Declare them non-negotiable. No excuses. No delays. No maybe later. Write them down. Say them aloud. Make a contract with yourself. Step 3. Follow through daily, without compromise. Every single day. No exceptions. Even when tired. Even when distracted. Even when you don't feel like it. Let's address resistance. You may think, life is unpredictable. I need flexibility. Good. Life is unpredictable. But discipline is non-negotiable. Flexibility is for execution methods, not for action itself. You can adapt the approach, but never skip the core commitment. This is how confidence and self-trust grow. You know you can rely on yourself. You know you can execute under pressure. You know you can achieve your goals no matter the circumstances. Consider the compounding effect. Day 1, you honor your non-negotiable standard. Day 2, you honor again. Day 3, you honor it again. 1 week passes. 1 month passes. 1 year passes. Non-negotiable standards become identity. Your self-image shifts. I am someone who follows through. Your habits become automatic. Your discipline becomes unstoppable. Standards over moods. Every time, here's a practical exercise. Choose one critical habit. Pick one action that moves your life forward consistently. Declare it non-negotiable. Write it down. Say it aloud. Commit to it publicly if necessary. Execute no matter the condition. Feel tired? Execute. Feel lazy? Execute. Feel distracted? Execute. Track adherence. Use a journal, a calendar, or a habit tracker. Momentum compounds with visible proof. Remember, non-negotiable discipline builds self-trust. Every time you follow through, you reinforce. I am reliable. I am capable. I am disciplined. Every time you let moods decide, you reinforce. I am weak. I am inconsistent. I am unreliable. The choice is yours. Standards over moods. Standards over moods. Standards over moods. You have learned to remove negotiation. You have learned to resist comfort. You have learned to work silently. Now you combine all these lessons into a life of absolute discipline. A life where every choice is aligned. Every action is intentional. Every habit is non-negotiable. The final step is transformation. Living with purpose so that discipline becomes effortless, identity-driven, and unstoppable. Chapter 10. Become the person who finishes everything they start. Stop starting and stopping. Stop abandoning what you begin. Stop letting projects, goals, and promises fade into nothingness. If you want unshakable discipline, one skill stands above all: finishing. Completion is the ultimate proof of your character. Completion is the ultimate proof of your discipline. Remember this mantra: completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Repeat it. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Say it again. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Think about it. The world is full of starters. People who have ideas, goals, and intentions, but never finish. They begin with motivation. They quit with resistance. They dream. They fail to deliver. The difference between success and failure is simple. Finishers finish. Completion is not glamorous. Completion is not easy. Completion requires discipline, consistency, and purpose. Consider real examples. Business leaders who scale companies don't stop mid-project. They face setbacks, obstacles, and doubt, but they finish. Fitness competitors don't quit halfway through training cycles. They endure pain, fatigue, and discomfort, but they finish. Masters of personal development don't abandon habits. They keep showing up day after day until mastery becomes identity. Completion compounds. Momentum grows. Identity shifts. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Here's why finishing matters more than starting. Starting is easy. Anyone can have an idea. Anyone can make a plan. Finishing is hard. It demands consistency. It demands focus. It demands action regardless of emotion. This is why finishers stand apart. They become unstoppable because completion becomes who they are. Momentum becomes their identity. Results become inevitable. Let's be practical. Step 1. Decide to finish before you start. Every task, every project, every goal, commit to completion first. Don't allow a maybe or we'll see. Completion is non-negotiable. Step 2. Break work into manageable milestones. Big projects feel overwhelming. Small, deliberate steps create momentum. Each milestone builds confidence. Each milestone reinforces identity as a finisher. Step 3. Focus on process, not perfection. Don't wait for ideal conditions. Don't wait for perfect inspiration. Execute consistently. Execute daily. Execute relentlessly. Step 4. Use accountability. Track progress. Review outcomes. Celebrate completion. Finish what you start, and the habit compounds. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Consider the psychological impact. Every time you finish, You prove to yourself that you can. Every time you finish, your confidence grows. Every time you finish, your identity strengthens. When you start seeing yourself as someone who completes everything they begin, momentum becomes effortless. Discipline becomes automatic. Success becomes inevitable. Here's a mindset shift. Think of every task as a contract with yourself. If you start it, you finish it. If you commit, you deliver. If you say yes, you follow through. You are not someone who quits when it gets hard. You are not someone who abandons the uncomfortable. You are a finisher, a producer, a person who honors their word and their potential. Let's apply this daily. Wake up with intention. Identify what must be completed today. Attack it with discipline. Refuse to stop until done. Even small tasks, even mundane tasks. Completion is a habit, and habits compound. Finish everything, even the small wins, and the big victories follow. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. Now, let's close the loop on all you've learned. You stopped waiting for motivation. You strengthened your identity. You built systems. You removed negotiation. You chose long-term growth over comfort. You became immune to distraction. You resisted the addiction to feeling good. You worked silently without validation. You made discipline non-negotiable. Now it's time to finish everything you start. No excuses. No hesitation. No shortcuts. Everything counts. Every action. Every decision. Every habit. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. You're no longer someone who dreams. You're no longer someone who hopes. You're now someone who executes. Someone who finishes. Someone whose momentum becomes identity. This is the transformation of unshakable discipline. It is unstoppable. It is irreversible. It is yours. One final reminder for your journey. Every habit, every choice, every effort you take compounds. Finish what you start. Honor your commitments. Respect your potential. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you. If you found value in this audiobook, make sure to subscribe now for more life-changing strategies, lessons, and tools. Every video is designed to transform your mindset, sharpen your discipline, and help you become unstoppable. Now go. Finish. Execute. Grow. Completion builds power. Completion builds belief. Completion builds you.